whenever I think of it, whenever we kind of go down
They
this
have not
line
been
of
beaten
this
enough.
line of whenever we go down this line of thought, I instantly think of that Joe Rogan's podcast where he just like fully calls out someone who's acting, he's putting on this massive like bravado act of like, oh, if you did this, man, I wouldn't care if like you're the top martial arts person in the world, but I would freaking floor
he was
you,
like
I'd freaking deck you. And then Joe Rogan just called him out and just like,
no, Brian
Callum
was like saying like, oh, if someone did that to me, I would. He was saying about being bullied, and he was like, if someone does that, if someone bullies me today now, I would go up to their house and kill them. I mean, that's a red flag. He's insecure about that.
Oh, 100%.
Like, that's someone who's getting bullied.
Yeah.
And he was like, and then Joe was like, that's not happening. And Brendan Shaw was laughing as well. Because he's just like, and then they were like, yeah.
Well, and I just like how you called it out. It's like you're surrounding yourself with people that aren't questioning your behaviour. And so you end up thinking that you're a lot bigger and a lot tougher than what you are because you're surrounding yourself with people that are bigging up your ego.
They haven't had
That's not
reality. They haven't had enough repercussions.
Yeah.
And I had real repercussions growing up. Like, if I played up, like, my dad was very violent. And, you don't want to get fucked up. Like, that's obviously, not everyone should go through that. That's horrible. But, it's just, I think, I don't know, I just sometimes, like, think people can't. And sometimes it's even, like, women or older people, the vulnerable, who get away with it more. I think because no one calls them out. Pregnant women with their fucking trolleys or prams, they drive at you.
They
and
do.
They act like...
I got properly rammed into by someone, actually.
You know what
I fairly recently, and I was like, excuse you, like, what are you doing?
You know
literally, like, cut me off.
You know what I fucking hate? If there's, like, a massive group of them, and you're on a really wide path, like a 5-person wide path, and they take up the whole space, and you're literally right on the line against the grass. Sometimes I step off onto the grass, or sometimes I just stick to it, because it's like, you have space, you can move. I'm already here, like... You're taking up the whole path.
How can you take up the entire path?
It's just, it's like, who do you think you are? I want to mow them down. I want to mow them down.
I agree. You're very annoying people.
Fuck me off so much.
You know who you are.
No,
you're out there and you're listening.
I don't think they do know. I think they do. They probably do know they're a cunt. They look in the mirror and they're like, no. People in denial. People know it deep down, but you know what?
Yeah.
You can't say it after people's... If you say stuff to a lot of people's faces, their bad behaviour, they get really upset because they're repressed in it and they're defensive.
Yeah, it's calling out behaviour. They can't deal with it. They go instantly into defence mode.
Because it's true. If you said something that wasn't true to someone at all, if I was like, oh my god, you're so purple, you're purple, you'd be like, what are you on about?
Well, that's not true.
I'm black.
No, but I don't know what's going on with your kind of perception, but I am not purple.
Right?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan said the similar thing.
Yeah, I suppose you'd joke about it, wouldn't you? You'd be like, what?
No, you wouldn't joke. You'd be like, it would have no...
real effect.
It would have no, like, grounded in reality.
Yeah.
If I said to you, like, oh my god, you're like... Oh, you played chess, that doesn't count. If I was like, oh my god, you're the worst fucking badminton player ever, you'd be like, dude, I've never even... played.
I've never played.
Yeah.
Never played.
You'd just be confused. You wouldn't even be offended.
Yeah.
You'd be offended. You'd be like...
No, you'd be baffled. That's actually a really good way of... That's actually a really... that's actually really good.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good way of looking at it.
Because it's...
because it's...
Yeah, coming up.
Who's that?
You're going to keep... It's the raw now.
Oh. So now it's just me. So let's really dive into my inner thoughts. So, Wacky, honestly, I can't even begin to tell you. He is a massive, and I mean massive... Oh, he's coming back. Never mind. We'll continue next time.
Speaking of Joe Rogan, that was my athletic greens.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Athletic greens. Oh, I can't remember where I was sitting now. About here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is basically about Space Invaders, right?
Pretty much, but I just wanted to go back because it reminded me of...
thing about...
Do you want to stop it?
The thing about people being upset.
Yeah, because I found that really interesting, and that's definitely something that I'll use...
it's a great analogy.
It's a really good analogy.
It's the same thing about comedy. If it was completely not true, it wouldn't be funny.
That's true.
If I was like, oh my
Yeah,
god,
no,
you're the
that's
worst
true.
badminton player, you'd be like, that's not funny, and it's not even causing a reaction in me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, no, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking of something that we kind of touched on very quickly before, and it was in relation to Joe Rogan, and it was when he was mentioning bullying. And I just remembered that one time when we were like hanging out with our neighbours, and one of our neighbours who's a psychologist, and how he was about to spell his last name, and we just went like, and I think because it almost spelled out cunt.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh yeah, like I've not heard that one before, and it was just so obvious how it just got him brought back completely.
Yeah.
To his childhood, and
he was like, it was actually quite an awkward interaction.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm a bit disagreeable and a bit grumpy, and he was like, oh my god, yeah, my name is CUN, and I was like, cunt, or something like that, and he got really upset. He was like, that's so original. He was like, that's original. Oh yeah, you don't.
Not had that my entire.
School.
Not had that my entire life.
And I just sat, and I just looked at him straight, and I was just like, I didn't go to fucking school with you. I was like, I didn't go to fucking school with you.
It's new to me.
I was like, it's not new. It's not new. It's new for me. Like, and he just, I don't think he said anything.
And then I think I kind of just mentioned, I was like, it's funny that you're a psychologist, and that's obviously brought you back to childhood trauma.
He was trying to be a white knight all night. Like, my girlfriend's here, and then he was trying to like white knight. Remember? Because the cleaning and cooking got brought up, and he was like, oh my god. He said something about like cooking, and I do all the cooking, but he didn't know that, and he was like, oh my god, you should really cook, you should treat a woman equally. And then I came back and I was just like, oh, you're sexist, and I was like, you're a bit sexist. And he was like, no, you're not. I'm not sexist. I said you should do some cooking. I was like, yeah, you're sexist against men because I actually do all the cooking, and you just assumed I didn't.
Yeah.
He's so lame. I was just like, such a loser. But then he was
just like throwing so much shade as well, because he was like, oh, then what do you end up cooking? And we was like rolling off some dishes. And like, oh, that's not cooking. It's like, I'm sorry, what? What do you do exactly?
He's just a very insecure person. I can't believe he's given people mental advice. God forbid.
But can you? Is that shocking? Isn't that kind of the way it's done? Isn't that the way it is?
It's like the mentally ill treating the mentally ill. Like, honestly, like it's just.
It's the whole line of thinking that, you know, oh well, you know, they've gone through it, so they'll understand, and they'll understand where they're coming from, like, you know, likened experiences and stuff like that. And
no, that's bullshit. There's plenty of inept people that get into roles because they do it for insecure reasons.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, there's so many people that just end up in roles because anyone can do it. Like, anyone can go get a degree in something, and then you can decide to do it, and then you work there for a few years, and then you get leveled up. It doesn't mean you're good at it.
Yeah.
It's not cutthroat enough. There's plenty of managers which are shit managers. There's plenty of people that do their job for years and are still shit at it. Some people are just inept at certain things, and they think they're not. And people need to be more grounded.
Yeah.
There needs to be more violence in the world. But
I mean.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't believe in violence. I just find people so arrogant, like. Yeah. And so rude, and they think.
I think it's not so much silence. I think it's more like there should just be like more behaviour should be called out.
Yeah.
Like if you're kind of living in fear of being called out, then I think you would end up changing your behaviour.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh my god, anyone could call me out for this at any time. But I think it's because everybody just ends up letting it go because it's just like accepted that, you know, some people are fucking assholes.
You see,
and it's like, you know what, I'm not going to say anything, but I wish I did. And then you just live in anger over it, and you're like, I wish I did, but I didn't.
I think when people become managers, their worst traits come out because they have complete control almost.
Yes.
And they try and
unquestioned.
And they try and say like, oh, this is a safe space. You can say what you want, but you can't.
No, of course you can't.
You can't really say like, oh no, I think you're a cunt and this is flawed, because they don't listen. Like.
Well, it changes the dynamic. So obviously they're human. They're going to take those emotions on, and they're not going to let you forget them. No,
they ultimately. I think and also people are people. You can't change someone. All you can do is change who's in your life and who you work for. If you don't get on with someone, you never will. And people say turn the other cheek and this, like, people are who they are.
If you don't get on with someone, it's very unlikely that you'll ever be able to get on with them. But then one thing is you need, I think with managers, like, I know that obviously they're human, so they're going to take on those emotions, but I just feel like there's a lot to be said for acknowledging that you act like a cunt.
Yeah.
So that in future situations you can question your behaviour. Like, some people are just blissfully ignorant of the fact that they come across that way and they do certain things, and they're like, oh shit, I've never really thought of that, or never really noticed that. And then once I'd like to think a good human being would be like, when this happens, you're like this. And then that individual's like, oh, I don't really see that, and I didn't really know that as a thing. And then hopefully in the future they would take on board that feedback and kind of question.
Yeah, people aren't that introspective.
No,
they're just not. And I almost.
But you'd expect managers to be. That's what managers should be.
I don't.
But obviously they won't be.
I don't expect them to be because they're humans. You were saying they should be.
Yeah.
You don't expect them to be.
I'd kind of. No, yeah, I suppose it should be. I don't really expect them to do it.
I mean, yeah, you would imagine them. I don't know. I think people can't be unbiased and step outside and pick apart their own behaviour. It's almost like they're too far in it.
Yeah.
They can't see if they're wrong or they're right. They're just like, this is how I feel, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's openness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, to some extent. I don't know. Yeah, and I don't know. It's crazy shit. Yeah. We've kind of like gone off. So what's this one? This is kind of like, I have a title.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, so, sorry, I don't know why I asked you.
No.
It's Space Invaders and Personalities.
I like that. I like that a lot. If I saw that come up, I'd be like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, we've kind of gone into a little bit of each. We got disturbed by the postman, but I don't probably edit that out, or unless you were talking in the meantime.
No, I wasn't really talking.
Okay,
I was building up to like a massive, huge insult, and I was like, shh, it's coming back.
Right. Should we stop this and start a new one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh,
in a bit.
Oh yeah, okay, bye.
In a bit.